Hello, welcome to Adrienne Ross Squared, squaring off from A to Z. I want to talk to you about Kwanzaa and why I do not celebrate Kwanzaa, although at one time I did. Now, Kwanzaa started on December 26th and it goes to January 1st. So I am right smack dab in the middle of Kwanzaa. And it's so interesting when you think about how many Christians, even churches, celebrate Kwanzaa. And I got to wonder how many of these people, these churches, or just individuals know what Kwanzaa is all about. For me, I started celebrating it that I remember anyway. I don't know if I had heard about it before college, but definitely in college, a couple organizations would celebrate Kwanzaa, and it was a big thing. Lots of people would come out, food, music, dance, poetry, song, everything. And so after that, you still think of Kwanzaa. Sounds good. Starts the day after Christmas. Why not? Right? It's an extension of Christmas. Au contraire, it is not. So I'm just going to share with you why I don't celebrate Kwanzaa, what's really at the root of Kwanzaa, and why we need to know what we're doing. I saw it as an African American holiday. Kwanzaa has to do with first fruits. I could pick all that up before, but it took some time before I understood what the deal was with Kwanzaa, and I think we should know. So I'm going to share that. I'm going to be looking at some information here, and I want you to think about this. Kwanzaa is an annual celebration of African American culture, and like I said, from the 26th to the 1st. And it is a culmination of a communal feast it culminates in a communal feast called Karamu. And it's usually on the 6th day, it says. Now, here's the deal. It was created by an activist, Maulana Karenga, based on African harvest festival traditions from various parts of the West, East, as well as Southeast Africa. It was first celebrated in 1966. All right. So now people celebrate it in America and beyond. But why won't I celebrate it anymore? Rooted in Kwanzaa is Black separatism. Karenga created Kwanzaa as an alternative to Christianity. So in 1966, during the aftermath of the Watts riots, as a non-Christian, he created it specifically as an African American holiday. And this is what he said. So I'm going to share this quote with you. He said his goal was to give Black people an alternative to the existing holiday of Christmas. Now, I didn't know that Black people needed an alternative to Christmas, but this is what he said. This is what Kwanzaa is all about, and churches are celebrating this. They have the little bulletins, Kwanzaa. They do the little Sunday school lessons, Kwanzaa. They have the gatherings. It's not just churches, it's community events, it's families. It was me. Okay, so it's an alternative to Christmas, to give Black people, not all people, Black people, an alternative to Christmas and give Black people an opportunity to celebrate themselves and their history rather than simply imitate the practice of the dominant society. And that's a quote. Okay. So he was a figure, Karenga, in the Black Power movement in the 60s and the 70s. And what I'm reading here says, for Karenga, a figure in the Black Power movement in the 60s and 70s, the creation of such holidays also underscored the essential premise that, quote, you must have a cultural revolution before the violent revolution. Listen to this. Christians especially need to pay attention to this. During the early years of Kwanzaa, Karenga said it was meant to be an alternative to Christmas because he believed Jesus was psychotic and Christianity was a white religion that Black people should shun. So tell me how, for churches that celebrate this, tell me how you embrace that as a Black person who's not down with separatism. Tell me how you embrace that. And if you think the separatism part is cool, how is it the anti-Christian part of it, the very reason why it was started, is cool with you? I'm not down for the separatism thing. As a Christian, how can we? The Bible talks about there's neither male nor female, nor Jew nor Greek. We're all one in Christ Jesus. But of course, Karenga saw Christ as psychotic and Christianity as the religion of the dominant culture and something that Black folks should have absolutely nothing to do with. Now, in the beginning, like before you know all that, you're like, well, this sounds really good. They've got the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, which sounds like wonderful principles. And I'm going to share what they are because that's what I remember. The candles, the 7 candles, the 7 principles, and how all those things apply. But before I move on, I want to point out, as Kwanzaa gained mainstream adherence, Karenga then altered his position so that practicing Christians would not be alienated. And he stated in a book in 1997 called Kwanzaa, A Celebration of Family, Community, and Culture that, quote, Kwanzaa was not created to give people an alternative to their own religion or religious holidays. So in the 1960s, in 1966, he starts this Kwanzaa, this celebration of the first fruits, and starts it to give an alternative to Christianity. But then in 1997, he says in a book that it wasn't created to give people an alternative to their own religion and religious holiday. It can't be both. You cannot change why you created something. That's why you created it. Perhaps more people were like, what is going on here? And he wanted to draw in more people to this holiday. And so he kind of backtracked and said, that's not what it was. It wasn't, but that was what it was. And these are the principles. There are 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And like I said, they sound good. I remember knowing what they were. I had a book about it in my classroom as a teacher, the whole thing. I mean, I didn't do my own individual celebrations, but like I said, in college, there were huge celebrations because it's festive. The principles are inspirational. There's dance and music and poetry and song and all this stuff, like I said. And it sounds great and it brings people together, even though it was African-American holiday. White people were there, Black people were there, people from different cultures were there, all kinds of food. It tastes good, all that. But you got to get to the root of some of this stuff and figure out what it is you're inviting into your life. Celebrating against your very nature if you're a Christian. So here are the 7 principles that I always knew. Umoja means unity. And this is, like I said, each of the 7 days of Kwanzaa is dedicated to one of these principles. So each one. So first one is Umoja, which is unity, to strive for, to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. The second one, which I never could really pronounce, it's like Kuji Chagulia. That means self-determination, to define and name ourselves as well as to create and speak for ourselves. So we know ourselves have to do with Black people because he was a Black separatist. Ujima, collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. So you got this communal kind of thing going on here, which, I mean, you look in the scriptures and it talks about how they had all things common and they gave when everybody had need. So you see something like this, and it sounds good. Number 4, Ujamaa, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Cooperative economics, building your own. And by our own, he's talking about Black people here. Nia, purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Purpose. Kumba is creativity, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And 7, Imani, I always love that word. It means faith, to believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Faith. All I heard was faith. Ain't nothing in there about faith in God there. To believe with our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. The righteousness of our struggle. Our righteousness is from God. These are the 7 principles that I always heard, always celebrated. 7 principles for the 7 days of Kwanzaa. It sounds so good, but at the root of it is separating out, is shunning the white man's religion, so-called. And like I said, you've got I'm just going to share the screen with you so you can just see what some of these, I'm just going to Google so you can just take a look at some of the things that are out there about Kwanzaa, the things that I saw, and some people celebrating them. So you see here, I just put in the word Kwanzaa, which again, Swahili for first fruits. I think without the A, that's what it means, but he just added an extra A onto it. And that's what I would see a lot of. You see the candles, the 7 candles, as you can see here, and then you would see the fruit here. That's a big part of it. It's a big part of the celebration. There's usually some kind of display like that, and everybody's dressed in the colors. What is Kwanzaa? It says Kwanzaa is a week-long African-American and Pan-African cultural holiday honoring African heritage, leaving out what it really was all about. And you can see here are the 7 principles right here that I just read to you. Kujima, Gulia, Ujima, Ujamaa, Umoja, Nia, Kumba, and Imani. And happy Kwanzaa again. These candles, and each day, each principle for each day. So that, I mean, that's dressed in the African stuff, the candles here, the whole thing. I mean, people and their families, and they've got it here. Dance going on. So very festive. It seems so good until you stop and say, what is it really all about? So I don't celebrate Kwanzaa because it, at its very root, is anti-Christian. So it's like we gotta know what we're doing. It's like, do I even want to go down this route? It's like the Black Lives Matter movement, which I speak out against, which is Marxist. It sounds good for people, except like I said all the time, people who matter don't need somebody else to tell them they matter, and they don't go around saying I matter. They just go about mattering. They go about mattering. But at the root of that, which a lot of people don't know, including some of these churches that are embracing it, its stated purpose is to do away with the Black family. Like, that's what we really need. The nuclear family just totally eradicated. That's his purpose, and it's corrupt as the day is long. There's that. But a lot of people don't know that, so they got their shirts on. They're doing their thing. You go to sports arenas, you see the signs on the floor, Black Lives Matter. I think they're doing something good. Same thing with Kwanzaa. All these great celebrations. I don't want anything to do with anything that was created so that Christians could veer away from Christ, and instead of embracing unity. I don't have a problem with appreciating culture. I'm Black. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind getting together with Black people. I don't mind saying, hey, I want to support you. But if I'm exclusive and that everybody else is outside the family, and it's just us four and no more because we're just going to do our thing and dishonor God in the process. I just don't want anything to do with that. And so that's why I don't celebrate Kwanzaa. Now, what about you? Have you ever been to a Kwanzaa celebration? Did you know what I just shared? I'd like to hear. Get in the comments if you don't mind and say, have you ever celebrated Kwanzaa? Did you ever know what it was about? Have you been to one where it was really exciting and fun? Does it matter to you if you're celebrating something that was the reason behind it, anti-Christian, the white man's religion, all that, but now it's embraced by a lot of people who don't feel that way about it? Does that make it okay for you? I'm not casting judgment on anybody else who celebrates it. I'm just saying we need to know these things, and then we have to decide for ourselves what's valuable to us and what we stand for, and what we are willing to overlook. So I'm just curious about you. What do you think about Kwanzaa? What's your experience with it? What do you think about my thoughts? Did you know all that stuff or what? All right. So once again, get in the comments. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel here at Adrienne Ross Squared, please do so as we grow this channel. Also, go to the main channel. Make sure that you're dialed in at the Adrienne Ross Show. Go over to that. I will put that link in this description of this video. And I look forward to seeing what you got to say in the comments. I will catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly. And hey, Happy New Year.